Secrets. Oh, it's my god. Secrets. Oh, it's my god. I do lo-fi once a week. I do lo-fi once a week. Obviously, it's nice. I'm kind of like excited to be able to go meet someone that I actually like saw when I was younger. Not so much idolized, but like really thought it was really cool what they did. And they always say like don't meet your idols. I'm kind of like excited to be able to go meet someone that I actually like saw when I was younger. Your view of them will change. Not so much idolized, but like really thought it was really I think this cool what they did. This is comedy based, so and they always say like don't meet your idols because then you'll lose every bit of like because your view of them will change. So it's best to not meet them in person. But I think this is a little different. This is comedy based, so you can do it. Yesterday working on the online version of the calendar. To start building out, stuff. I started to do that when I realized the way that I had it on there still needed some. Y'all told me yesterday working on the online version of the calendar. To start building out, what it is. Like I said, I added it in the last stream. I started to do that when I realized the way that I had it on there still needed goals calendar, some like 2 6 a.m. So that could be anything over the next 6 months. Like I said, I added it in the last stream. I said I added in the goals. Goals calendar. You already know for a fact you have holidays. There's a possibility you might have birthdays somewhere in there. Anything over the next 6 months. Because remember, we're starting the next 6 months. Things personally that you want to meet at a certain amount of time. Whether it's debt payments, weight loss. You already know for a fact you have holidays. There's
savings
a possibility
plan,
you might have
community
birthdays somewhere in there.
Maybe you want to
know
meet
for a fact that you have
certain requirements, like we were saying about
personally
social
that you
media,
want to
where you
meet in
can,
a certain amount of time.
all right, give yourself a certain amount of
Debt
time
payments, weight
to get
loss,
monetized for each one of your accounts. It's going to take time.
savings plan.
Sometimes you get lucky and you can borrow.
Maybe you want to meet
There's also
a certain requirement, like we were saying about
requirements in that
social media,
media
where you can,
So, all right, give yourself a certain amount of time
to get monetized for each one of your accounts.
it's going to take time. Sometimes you get lucky and you can borrow. But there's also requirements in that virality. So,
Even if it's just something as simple as doing something in your house, whatever.
For a personal goal, like, put something on the calendar, one thing every day. Right?
So, whatever your goals
anyway,
are,
so
even if it's
I
just
already
something
have
as
on there
simple
the weight
as doing something in your house or whatever,
to weigh in.
for a personal goal, like
Wednesday for the stream is workout
put
Wednesday.
something on the calendar, one thing every day.
Right. And so I'll be weighing in Wednesday, but I already have on there. I know for a fact that weight is going to fluctuate to weigh in the course of a month. The first Wednesday, because Wednesday for the stream is workout Wednesday, and and so I'll be weighing in every Wednesday, but my weighing in once a month. I know for a fact that weight is going to fluctuate 30 pounds over the course of a month. So, right, I have the weigh-in as water weight Wednesday of every month. I haven't. I'm leaving. So continue to repeat weighing in every month until eternity. I do have a 3-month goal. For right now, the goal 30 pounds. To see how far we can get. So I have the weigh-in as the first Wednesday of every month. Let's see. Okay, so June. I haven't. I'm leaving it there. To continue. So to by the first Wednesday every month until eternity. But for right now, the goal is to see how far we can get in the next 4 months. Is the big weigh-in, right? The final. So June will be the first weigh-in. July. So the September. So by the first Wednesday in September. Okay. And if I don't meet it by then, I'm okay with that because I still have 3 more months to finish out my 6 months. Is the big weigh-in, right? The final. So okay, did you meet the goal? I want to see how far I can get. So by September, the first Wednesday in September, the 30-pound goal. Okay. And if I meet the 30 pounds, and if I don't meet it by then, I'm okay with that because I still have 3 more months to finish whatever the reward is. Maybe it's like going to get my nails done. I want to see how far I can get. Now I have by September, the first Wednesday in September. Envelope challenge. Because that's and if I meet the 30 pounds, putting money forward. Now I have to give myself a reward for that. No, because now whatever the reward is, maybe it's like going to get my nails done or whatever. So now I have something 3 months to put into my envelope challenge financial because goal. So now that's now putting money forward towards a goal. Because now my reward for the goal has to be funded. So now I'm giving myself 3 months to fund a specific reward financial goal. So now it's a double goal amount. Okay, but I still have to meet that 30-pound goal. If I don't meet it, what do I do to entice myself to then I have to have some kind of I am glad still a reward because I met whatever amount, but I still have to meet that 30-pound goal. Living in so now, what do I do to entice myself? Is what's really going to give me. If I haven't met the blocks and a little tiny I am glad in the fact of what I've done, if anything, help hold you up, help keep you above those thoughts and those feelings. Being grateful and living in gratitude and easy for us to get down on ourselves and we don't is what's really going to give you those little building blocks. You know, if we have a certain expectation, tiny sand or stone beneath your foundation to help hold you up, help keep you above those just a barrage of negativity of yourself, which a lot of times is really easy for us to get down on ourselves when we don't meet our own personal requirements. You know, if we have a certain expectation of ourselves, even if you've done it in the past, we're disappointing ourselves. Try your best. It ends up being like And you're gonna fail at some things.
Just a barrage of negativity on yourself, which wasn't
don't get
warranted
too
to begin
upset
with.
with yourself. Give yourself
So,
grace when you do
looking
make
at the
mistakes like today,
positive
I made
aspects
2.6
moving
feet.
forward,
Okay, before I
even if you've done it in the
took a deep
past,
breath, I just wanted to
try your best going
so,
forward.
and
And you're gonna fail at some things, and that's okay. Failure is part of success.
And that like later today.
So don't get too upset with yourself. Give yourself grace when you do make mistakes like today. I ate 2 slices of
sugar
cake.
spent up for the
Okay, before I even ate
Oh,
breakfast,
also,
which I didn't even eat
made a
breakfast.
coffee
I just
this
went ahead and
morning.
ate
It's the
lunch.
most
So,
disgusting coffee I think I've
um,
drank in my life.
and then
And the bad thing is, I
later
used to
today we're
drink
gonna
it,
go in and
but
do
now
our own thing, and
because I used to drink
now
it a
it's like
certain
thinking
way
about it,
with
like,
all
okay,
that
now all my
sugar
sugar
in
is
it.
spent up for the entirety.
Now
Oh,
I
also,
can't
I
drink
made
it
coffee
without
this
all
morning.
that
It's
sugar
the
in
most
it.
disgusting coffee I think
So
I've ever
now
drank
I
in my
have
life.
an entire container of coffee that I don't.
And the
even
bad thing
drink
is, I used to
because
drink
tastes
it,
disgusting.
but now
Because I've changed my
because I used to
ways
drink
from
it a
the last
certain
time
way
I
with
had it, which
all
was
that sugar in it,
I've changed my own ways by
now I
putting the sugar
can't
in
drink
there.
it without all that sugar in it.
Pouring for 6.
So now
I'm
I
pouring
have an
for
entire
3.
container of coffee
I started by
that I don't
pouring
even
for
want to
3,
drink
and I
anymore
almost
because it tastes disgusting.
My face
Because I've changed my ways from the last time I had it a month ago. I've changed my own ways by cutting the sugar in half. Remember I told you I was originally pouring for 6. Now I'm pouring for 3.
And so I was like,
I started by pouring the 3,
I-
and I almost died. My face is imploded from flavor. Anyway,
teach me.
so
Which I
yeah,
don't
I
have
kind of
to, but it
backtracked a
reminded
little
me
bit because I still
not
wanted to
to.
drink coffee. I made a whole pot, you know. And so I was like,
But
you know what?
I'm so
I'll just drink it.
goals calendar added.
Teach my damn self a lesson.
6 a.m.
Which I don't have to, but
morning
it'll remind
routine,
me.
8 a.m.
not to
wardrobe.
do it.
Change that.
Um,
9 socials. 10 seller sites.
So
11 advertising. Because remember,
goals calendar added.
12 house chores.
6 a.m.
7 a.m.
Morning
routine.
routine,
8 a.m. wardrobe.
Unschooling.
Change that. 3 electives.
9
Socials.
socials.
Gym. 5
10 seller sites.
6
11
supper,
advertising.
7
Because
cleanup,
remember we've been
8
talking a
night
lot about
routine,
advertising.
9 self-care. 10 power down.
12 house
11
chores.
to 6 sleep.
1 daily schedule.
That sounds like a
2
full fucking
unschooling.
day. 3 electives.
I know for a fact that it's not going to be
gym.
this
5
order.
thrift.
I know for a fact that it's
6
not going to be at those
supper.
times.
7
just
cleanup.
gave myself
8 nightly
general
routine. 9
idea
self care. 10 power down.
what I could do
from
to
11 to
start
6
with.
sleep. And I'll adjust that accordingly.
That sounds like a full fucking day.
Structuring everything.
I know for a fact that it's
Because the
not
ways
going to
that I
be in
used
this
to do
order.
things,
I know for a fact that it's not going to be at those times.
So
I just
I
gave
have to look
myself
at it
a
as,
general
okay,
idea
how much can
of
I fit
what I could do to start
into
with,
the day?
and I'll
And
adjust
then
that accordingly moving forward.
On top of
like
that,
I said, I'm
I'm
restructuring
trying to fit the
everything
things that are going to
because the ways that I used to do things is not going to work the same way
Okay.
anymore. So I have to look
I've
at it as,
been
okay,
sitting on a
how
lot
much
of
can
stuff
I
that
fit
was not able
A
to
into a
move
day?
because
And then
either A, the computer that I
on
had
top of
didn't
that, like,
work for what I
I'm
wanted,
trying to fit the things
Or
that are going to
B,
give me those little baby
I just
steps
fucking
forward.
procrastinated.
Okay?
You gotta take
I've
some
been sitting on a
awareness
lot of
and
stuff that I was not able to
So,
move forward with.
it's the only way you're gonna get
because
past it. Either A,
And I'll tell you what,
computer
every
that I
day
had
it's not
didn't
looking
work
too
for
well.
what I wanted when you're
Or
fitting
B,
yourself.
so I just like I said, give yourself grace. If this is not your
You gotta
routine,
take
so be it.
You know,
Awareness
chunk
in
some
your
time out of there.
Okay.
Or
So it's the only way you're gonna get
take
past
this
it.
into smaller.
And I'll tell you what, every day it's
like,
a fucking
events
battle.
and it's like right
when
before
you're
you go to
fighting
bed.
yourself. So,
I
like
don't
I said, give yourself
suggest-
grace. If this is not your routine,
I'm really
so
bad
be it.
for this.
You know, you're gonna have chunks of
I
time
don't
out of there.
suggest, and I'm gonna
Or
try to
if
keep
you
pushing
work,
myself about.
You can
jumping
take
up
this
and
into
getting right on
smaller
that.
little. That is a
Issue I
condense
have,
it into like
right
a
before
lot
you
of
go to bed.
times.
I'm looking at it to see.
You
First
know,
of
I
all,
don't
my kids
suggest.
messaged me overnight. 'Cause
I'm really
I
bad for
was
this.
on my phone.
I don't
Um,
suggest, and I'm gonna try to keep pushing
two,
on myself about
the next thing I'm
jumping
gonna
up
do
and
is
getting
I
right
usually
on
look at my Gmail.
That is a issue I have.
Because I want to see
A lot of
coming
times,
down,
I'm
what's
looking
coming
at
out
it to
from,
see, first of all,
for
if
today,
my kids
what
have
obviously
messaged
the
me
office.
overnight, because I have a really bad habit of
Then I go
sitting
into
my phone.
social media checking.
Um,
I legitimately just go in there. touch
two,
base,
next
check
thing
all
I
my
want to do
stuff real
is
quick,
I usually
and
look at
just
my
go to the
Gmail.
next one. Check all my stuff real quick.
Because I want to see what's coming inbound, what's going outbound.
And it's like the behind the
what's going on
scenes
for today, what
touch
the
first
options
thing in the
offer,
morning
so-
that you really don't need first thing in the morning. Then I go into social media checking. First wake up, I legitimately just go in there, touch base, check all of my stuff real quick, and then just go to the next one. Check all my stuff real quick. Go to the next one. Check all my stuff. Allow yourself. And it's like the behind the scenes touch first thing in the morning that you really don't need first thing in the morning. Okay. When you first wake up, give yourself some time to wake up. You can do these things or not do these things. Before you put your feet on the ground, allow yourself a moment to kind of recognize, believe in anything, but still live in that moment of gratitude. You're alive, just for yourself. You can do these things or not do these things, and be glad for one or the other. Okay. Well, they ain't ready for me to put my feet on. Whatever you believe in, or if you don't believe in anything, just still right there. Live in that moment of gratitude. So just for yourself, say, hey, you know what? And I know none of us say like that, but woke up today. Thinking. Well, they ain't ready for me to put my feet on. That right there. Okay, I just got to the spicy part. So, and I know none of us wake up like that, but thinking. So, even if you don't say it out loud. Morning routine. You're taking care of yourself. You're getting yourself ready for the day. You have not touched any electronics. This is your first period of time. Sweet and spicy. When you wake up. So then morning routine. I taking care of yourself. You're getting yourself when you wake up in the day. You have not touched any electronics. If you have a chance to, just go ahead and take a shower. This is your first period of time when you wake up. The fifth morning routine that I had done, which then a good portion of this is based on, if I highly suggest when you wake up in the day, inspiration from said. If you have a chance to, just go ahead and take a shower. Sage Lillyman is another YouTuber. The 50s morning routine that I had done, which is a good portion of this is based off of that. I think it was or at least hinted from inspiration from said. I watched that thing, but Sage Lillyman, who is another YouTuber, that's how I made this really awesome. My grandmother of her was that, you know what I mean? And I think it was for a week or something like that. All the time. I watched that thing, and I was just like, so she's speaking to my soul. That's how I grew up. Gave me inspiration for this. My grandmother was that, you know what I mean? And so on top of current all the time. There was no stuff current things in social media. So personal house chores. It kind of really gave me inspiration for this. And then, my baseline tradition, which I feel like education should current, current events and current things, right, like social media and stuff. And then personal house chores, which is an everyday. And then, just I have the unschooling in there. Coordinate together. Which I feel like education should never stop. Like I said, you should never stop learning. It's 1% of this is part of another thing during the course of the day. And then it's really important for you to have at that time, because it's going to affect you. Just like this little mashup of things that all coordinate together. Like I said, in a small touch, even though it's 1% of this is part of another thing during the course of the week. Being very aware of really important for you to do, right? At that time, because it's going to affect you later. So see what I'm saying as far as pulling in the review of the previous, also putting forward whatever needs to be pulled from the past. So this way, being very aware of the current, right? Okay, so you're covering your past. Only what I need to pull into the current. So this way, only taking with you, or also putting forward whatever needs to be pulled from the past. So this way, I have more stepping stones to work with moving forward. So you're covering your past. You're leaving behind what you don't fucking need. You're only taking with you. Don't get me wrong. Putting in your bag. These situations and scenarios are going to pop up. But just remember, that's the past. So it's not right now. Pulling only what you need. This way it'll help you, or what you're willing to take yourself. So you can pull out everything negative memory. Don't get me wrong, you're going to have memories. These situations and scenarios are going to pop. Smell, touch. But just remember, that's the past. Okay? It's not right now. You can hear something. So this way it'll help you to start to ground yourself to the right so now. You can pull out of that negative memory. So you can take the senses around you and find your way
sound,
to get
smell,
yourself out of
touch,
okay, to get
all that
yourself
stuff.
out of that
Okay,
whatever you can see.
so
you can hear something, anything that you can grasp onto
when those
right now.
come, where those memories,
So you can
pop
take
up,
all those bad
happen,
memories
or those
and find your way back to get yourself out of
what to do with it.
okay, to get yourself out of that darkness.
Remember that's
past, because you're not taking it with you. You're not allowing it to come with
when
you.
those moments come,
Okay.
where those memories
this
pop up,
or
this
those
is a part
triggers
of your
happen,
life,
or
it's
those
not
emotions
your life
start overflowing and you don't know what to do with it.
and
Having those
remember
touch-based
that's
things,
past,
because you're not taking it with you.
Really
You're not allowing it to
going
come
to
with
help
you anymore.
be able to
Okay.
get out of your head.
You know
so
that this
you
is
can
a
realize
part of your life,
the
but
reality
it's not your
of
right
life
now, and what you're looking forward to.
And
because you want to
having those touch-based
things
to pull
so
you out of that darkness is really going to help you.
Okay,
Be able to get out of your head.
So this way you can realize the reality.
It's really
of right now,
the first step in
and what
healing
you're
yourself
looking forward to,
and working on,
because you want to give
healing
yourself
your
that
life.
triangulation.
Because everything that you do
so
within
you
yourself is
can
a direct reflection of everything
time
that's
travel.
happening around you.
Okay.
You'll start to see
It's really
one day
the first step
you'll
in
have
healing
an idea
yourself
or a thought
and working on healing your life.
and then all
Because
of a
everything that
sudden,
you do
during the
within
course of
yourself
the day,
is a
or
direct
sometime
reflection
within
of everything that's
a
happening
small
around
amount of
you. And
time
you will
period,
start to see that.
you'll
Start to see,
and I don't mean
one
like
day
the whole,
you'll have an idea or a thought pop in your mind, right? I mean, like you didn't
and then
say
all of a sudden
anything to
during the
anybody.
course of that
You
day,
just thought
or
it, and
sometime
then all of a sudden,
within
a
a
small amount of time period, it'll come.
They call that
in front of you.
manifestation.
And I
Now,
don't
remember,
mean
when
like
you're
the whole
manifesting,
like okay,
no
the
matter what
internet,
that is,
Big Brother is this.
you're manifesting.
I mean, like you
abundance
didn't
to you,
say anything
right?
to anybody. You just
Money,
thought it, and then all of a sudden it comes.
fame, I want all this attention, I want all this stuff. Right?
They call that manifestation.
But that could go either way.
Now remember, when you're manifesting,
The universe isn't,
no matter
like
what that
direct,
is,
here you go.
you're manifesting abundance to you, right? You're thinking, oh, I want all this money, I want all this fame, I want all this attention, I want all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that could go either way. The universe isn't, like a direct, like,
You
here
got it.
and I don't can tell you where it's at. You gotta make it somehow. You know what I mean? But usually the universe goes like,
Yeah.
makes me figure out a way to get to it. I gave it to you.
Remember that
You got it.
Even when those scenarios happen,
It's at.
it's
You
always
gotta
for your betterment. It's always for your betterment. It's always for your betterment. And it's really hard to do that when you're in the midst of the bullshit.
Okay.
The things that are taken away
but
from
remember
you
that,
a lot of
you know,
times,
even when those scenarios happen, it's
it's
always for your betterment. It's always for your
wasn't
betterment.
meant
It's
to be
always for your betterment. And it's
really hard to tell.
I know a lot of
ourselves
people
that
don't
when
want
we're in the
to
midst of
hear
the bullshit.
Okay.
I don't believe in that.
The things that are taken
I've
away
lost
from
friends,
you
I've
a
lost
lot of
family,
times,
I've lost
children,
children.
it's because
You know,
it wasn't meant to be a part of your life anymore.
It took
And I know a
me
lot of people don't want to hear that.
a lot.
I don't even want to hear that.
Okay.
I've lost
Of
friends, I've lost family,
A lot of understanding.
I've lost children that
There's
know,
things that we can't control.
it took me,
And there's some things that we can control.
A
We
lot.
have our decisions, and we regret our decisions.
of
But
understanding.
I don't want you to
a lot of
regret
understanding.
your life. I want you
That
to live your life
There's things that we can't
the
control.
way you want to live it. Okay?
And there's
I
some
know
things
it's
that we
gonna
can control.
include
We have our decisions. And then
Working,
we
it's gonna
regret our
include
decisions.
doing something.
But
or
I don't
even
want you to
stepping back and
regret
not doing anything.
your life. I want you to
Sometimes
live
that
your
happens
life
too. Sometimes
the
you
way
gotta take
you
breaks.
want to live it.
You gotta
Okay? And I know that's going to include
chords. You gotta
working. It's going to include
self-isolate,
doing
you
something,
get
or
energy
even
back,
stepping back and not doing
whatever it
anything.
is. I understand.
You know, because
So
sometimes
it's
that happens
polar
too.
opposites. Sometimes you gotta take breaks. Neutrality.
You gotta like
What I'm trying to say to you is
cut
whatever
the cords. You
situation,
gotta
scenario.
self-isolate.
through
You
it.
gotta
Okay.
get
and I know
your
that
energy
there
back.
are certain times
Whatever it
when
is.
people
I
come
understand.
at me.
So it's like polar opposites of what I'm
But-
saying.
and I know
There is
that
neutrality in here, you know?
personally
What I'm trying to say
have
to you is
experienced
whatever
some really bad
situation,
scenario.
you can get
I'm
through
not
it.
saying that it's worse
Okay,
than
and
yours.
I know that there are certain
Because
times there's
everyone
gonna be
has
people
their
coming
own
at me,
demons that they're fighting. Okay.
but and I know that
They've already
I
fought 'em, or they're about to, or
personally
it hasn't
have
happened.
experienced some really
Maybe
bad
they'll never
shit.
happen. You know, it's real
I'm not saying that it's worse than your scenario. Possibilities. Because everyone has their own
Don't give up on
demons
yourself.
that they're fighting.
Give yourself grace.
Okay.
Understand
Whether they've already fought them or they're about to, or
it has
yeah.
going to be okay.
Maybe it'll never happen.
You know, this world's a mix.
Even when you feel like you can't.
Well, possibilities. So
Don't give up on yourself.
yeah,
Give yourself grace.
So
understand that
I want you to
everything is
keep building
ultimately going to be okay.
forward. I
And
want
just keep
you to
breathing.
have something to hold on to pull yourself.
Even when you
out
feel
of
like
that
you can't.
place.
Well,
Have something to look forward to.
you
Grasp
like,
onto.
You know what I
To
mean?
get yourself
So,
out of that thought process of the past.
I want you to keep building.
Okay.
Forward.
Rewrite that.
I want you
narrative.
to have something.
If something
to hold
bad
on to
happens
yourself
somewhere,
out of that darkness. Okay.
make something good to
happen.
look forward to
From it.
to grasp
Whether-
onto,
even if you don't go back
to get
to it,
yourself
totally
out of
fine.
that thought process
all
of
have
the
mountains.
past. But
Okay.
make
Rewrite
something
that
positive
fucking
from it.
narrative.
Okay.
If
Whether
something
it's
bad
something
happens
creative,
somewhere,
you have to create
make something good
positive
happen
from a bad
from
situation.
it. Whether
Even if you don't go
and
back to it,
totally fine.
it's like I
we
said,
all
it's
have
the
mountains.
first steps of
But
being able to
make
grab
something
onto
positive
and
from
pull
that.
yourself out of that
Okay.
darkness.
Whether it's something
And
creative, you have to
take the
create
steps
something
you need to start
positive
healing personally,
from a bad
also
situation.
to start healing
And
life forward.
It's
a lot of us
like I
get
said,
really
it's the
stuck
first
in this
steps of being
cesspool
able
of
to grab onto something and pull
it's
yourself out of
ridiculous
that
to be
darkness and take the steps that you need to start healing personally, but also
start healing your life forward.
Okay, because a lot of us get really stuck in this fucking cesspool of life,
You know,
and it's
especially when
ridiculous.
you're
to be
understanding
done.
things around the world, it's really hard sometimes to focus at home. Right? It's hard to focus on self. You know, your thoughts,
especially
So,
internationally.
sometimes yes,
so,
self-care. Like I said, it's part of
You
it
know,
every day.
and especially when you're understanding the things around the world,
But
it's really hard sometimes.
really
to
start
focus on
making
home.
that intention
It's hard to
going
focus
forward
on
that
self.
you're going to start
And,
taking care of yourself.
you know, your
That
thoughts.
you're going to start taking
So,
care of your surroundings.
sometimes, yes, self-care. Like I
You're
said,
gonna
it's
start
part of
taking
your every day.
Just start
But
there. Okay?
really start making
Start
that
with
intention going forward that you're going to start
And
taking
then
care of yourself.
you'll start to see
That you're going to
your
start taking
surroundings
care
will
of your surroundings.
to heal.
You're going to start taking care of,
And sometimes you got to get transplanted. Just start there. Okay? Sometimes
Start with
you're
self.
in a really toxic situation.
and then
It's
you'll start to
something
see
new,
that your surroundings will start.
because it's the only thing you knew you
to
stayed
heal.
in it. Okay?
Okay?
Sometimes you got to get transplanted.
You got to get transplanted.
Okay? Sometimes
you're in a really
you have
toxic
your roots
situation
healed
and it's
the
the
only
only
fucking
fucking
thing
thing
you
you
knew.
knew. And
Because
for
it's the only
light to
thing you
shine
knew
on
you
the
stayed in it. Okay?
been through.
Sometimes
That's when you can start to
you gotta
that's
get
when you start to
transplanted. Recognize
for you to
Oh,
see,
shit,
to
I'm
start
carrying
to have your
all
roots
strong
heal,
feeling.
and for you to see the sun again.
I don't
And
want
for the light to shine on the
to my
darkness
children
you've
or
been
my
through.
friends or my
Because that's when you
family
can
or
start
my
to heal.
partner.
That's when you start to
Recognize
recognize,
I don't even want
oh
to
shit,
have that.
I'm carrying all this
Because it
trauma with
hurts
me.
too
I don't
much.
want
It's
to
too
have that
heavy
in
to
the future.
hold.
I don't want to
You know?
transfer that to
When
my
you're carrying a
children
whole bag of
or my
bricks on your
friends
back, like
or my
Santa.
family or my partner.
I'm just using references.
Or even,
but, you know,
I don't even want to have that
it's heavy
because it hurts too much. It's too heavy to hold.
Sometimes those
You know?
bricks from the past are
When you're
what's going
carrying a
to
whole
live
bag of bricks on your
hold
back
to
like Santa. I'm just using
Yeah.
references. But you know what I mean?
It's heavy out there.
Sometimes those
People are
bricks
not
from
gonna
the past are
understand
the best
that.
way to lay the road to the future. But they'll know if you're really there for them. And you only know the loss of things if this person wants you to be in the future. Because they're gonna show people are not gonna understand why. But
maybe
they'll
they
know
haven't
if
shown
you're
you in the
really there
past.
for them.
That's up
You'll
to you
know
to decide whether to forgive
if
them.
this person
Some people
wants
will
you to
forgive
be
them,
in the future.
and some people won't.
Because they're gonna show you.
But you need to forgive.
Or maybe they haven't shown you in the past.
Okay.
It's up to you to decide whether to forgive them. The best way to some people who are worth forgiving is to give yourself a better future. One that you've never even thought was possible. You need to forgive
Because
yourself.
once you start
first.
laying these bricks, once you start getting this foundation going,
And
and
the
once
best
you
way
start
to
taking that first step forward
is to
towards
give
your
yourself
better life,
a better future. one that you've never even thought was possible. Because once you start laying these bricks, once you start getting this foundation going, and once you start taking that first step forward towards your better life, like I said, all this some big celebrity, and all this good shit. I'm really gonna just start talking from actions. But I'm getting there, and everybody's got to start from somewhere. Even if it's I'm not some big celebrity, and I'm really the bottom of the totem pole of life right now. But I'm getting there, and everybody's got to start from somewhere. Even if I don't know who needs to hear that shit, but somebody needs to hear it. That's fine. If it resonates, if it don't resonate, let it go. Enough of my soapbox. Alright. I already showed y'all. I don't know who needs to hear that shit, but somebody needs to hear it. That's fine. If it resonates, if it don't resonate, let it go. Alright. So, I already showed y'all. Alright. So, I got the whole, I'm going with the beachy. Alright. Jeff did start taking the picture of her OOTD, which was awesome. Thank you so much. So I have I added some items to make eBay. So check that out. The outfit of the day wardrobe is going to be added to the Fashion Saturday. Socials today. Today was YouTube, Patreon, Etsy. I do have on here JPay, but I can't do that anymore. If they won't even let me in. Okay, so that was socials. So the next section, and I on here I had it all separated out by 30 minutes. So okay, so that was socials. But I need to really kind of chunk it together because the next section, and I on here I had it all separated out by 30 minutes, right? So, but I need to really kind of chunk it together because all it is share links, promotions, review sales, add items, and budget. And I also kind of wanted to separate advertising. There wasn't any reason to keep. I just chunked it. I kind of wanted to separate that a little bit. So I'm gonna have a different section. I have my own personal portion of that. And I also kind of wanted to separate the advertising from the posting. When I did my social media, I did kind of wanted to separate that a little bit because I have my own personal. So all of my social media is, and I also have the advertising and portion of that. So it's when I did my social media, I did what everybody tells you not to do. When I go to put it as your name. So all of my social media is my name. From a personal aspect, but I'm also doing it from a business aspect. And I probably have that all wrong. I'm not. When I go to social media post stuff, we need to do desperately. I'm doing it from a personal aspect, but I'm also doing it from a business aspect. And I probably have that all wrong. I'm not a social media manager, and I probably need one desperately. But I'm not willing to pay because I've been doing this myself. You're gonna need help along the way. So don't be afraid, right? And at some point, I am gonna need help, and don't be afraid. And for those of you who be aware, though, of the good, you're gonna need help along the way. So don't be afraid. You're gonna get bots. You're gonna get help, and don't be afraid. It's just a given. Ask for help. Be aware, though, of the good and bad. I highly suggest starting. You're gonna get bots. You're gonna get scams. It's just a given. You got to be really careful with what you're picking and choosing. I highly suggest starting or an up and coming with someone who doesn't have either a local artist, the publicity, or business of some kind, or an up and coming, someone who doesn't have. We have the publicity, like your fellow streamers, really, streamers unite. We need it. We need to help each other. Inventory at our disposal. Use it. So, and we need it. We need to help each other. House chores.
So,
go low.
I might be like actually yeah, I added that like specifically.
House chores.
Me myself, but I'll be honest, I might be like actually 5 doing that. I don't know, but and haven't been. Yeah, I added that like specifically in there, so this way it would help me keep up with my stuff. But I'll be honest, I've been kind of jackass lately, and haven't been keeping up with my end of the deal. So yeah, house chores has an hour, but remember you have your monthly maintenance in there also. So like if you're cleaning out your refrigerator, you're gonna need that. So even if it's just like 10. So yeah, house chores has an hour, but remember you have your monthly maintenance in there each day. So like if you're cleaning out your refrigerator, that you're gonna need that the entire day. So even if it's just like 10-15 minutes. Each day is different for the house chores, by the way, so that way you're not. But after that is the for today it's territory for today, which is garden planning weather, which also kind of already did in the first minute. But after that is the sciences and experiments. For today it's territory for today, which is garden planning weather. What I do is I take a wheel generator and I pick a page number, just like a and then sciences and experiments. Experiments. What I do is I take random number picker. So there's one experiment for each day. So we're going with 275. Experiment 275. 275. Experiment is 275. It seems to be. Experiment 275. Alcohol silicone stitch. It seems to be. What's going on? Alcohol silicone stitch. Okay, that didn't. Oh well, actually we can do this because Jeff got like the coolest. Here's one. Oh well, actually we can do this because Jeff got like the coolest bounce higher. Investigate bouncing energy. Experiment steps. Use the tape measure to bounce higher. 16 inches. Investigate bouncing energy. 48 inches. Steps. Use the tape measure to measure 16 inches, 32 inches, 48 inches. Drop a tennis ball from 16 inch height. This is a friend to watch what happens. How high did the ball bounce? Do this 2 more times. Drop a tennis ball from 16 inch height and ask your friend to watch what happens. How high did the ball bounce? Do this 2 more times and record how high it bounces each time. Repeat the experiment. Don't write on the wall. 48 inches of height. Do the same thing using the height of 32 inches. Repeat the experiment at differentiating the distance from why do you think the ball bounces at different heights? Value versus differentiating the distance from materials the time it hits its peak value versus its second value. So materials is 3 tennis balls, but I'll be honest with you, you could probably get like those like quarter bouncy balls and do the same. It dropped. Yeah. Did you take medication? It dropped. Okay. We'll just keep. Did you take medication? Okay. We'll just keep an eye on it right now. Hey, check it again in about like 10 minutes. If you have to, get up and walk around. Hey, check it again in about like 10 minutes. Oh. Did you eat? If you have to, get up and walk around. Oh. Did you eat? Well, usually that one's not too bad. Well, usually that one's not too bad. Did you drink coffee today? Or anything? That's fine. Well, why don't you drink some? You want me to get you drink? Did you drink coffee today?
Do you have tea? Well, why don't you drink something? You want me to get you something? Do you have tea? Do you have tea? Do you have tea? Hey. Okay. Do you have tea? Do you have tea? Okay. That's why I can't really eat it. Materials: 3 tennis balls, tape measure, chair, outside space with hard surface. Materials: 3 tennis balls, tape measure, chair, outside space with hard ground surface. Which I mean, in this scenario, was as first question, right? Which I mean, in this scenario, 18 plus anyways. So ask her, sit back real quick. Masking tape, or you can do it live for all of us to see it. Sit back real quick, and then we can tell you. Or you can do it live. Did you know that when a ball is bounced, and then we can tell you? That's why it bounces up close to the height. Did you know that when a ball is bounced, it conserves its energy? That's why it bounces up close to the height from which it was dropped. Okay. Did they ever tell you it's grab the grass to save grass? Where if you fall out of a plane, and you're able to grab hold of something. Where if you fall out of a plane, even if you hit the ground, you're able to grab onto something to stay there. Even if you hit the ground, if you're able to grab the grass, grab onto something to stay there. First impact that gets you. This way you don't bounce. It's the second one. Because the reverberation it's not the first impact that gets you. It's the second one. So it's the reverberation of the original. My question breaks all the seconds and bones and stuff. Why is so? What happens inside of my question then is you use whether it's a tennis ball, bounce. Why is it? What happens inside of whatever said ball when it's you use, whether it's a tennis ball, bounce ball, whatever. Inside. What happens to the inside of that ball when it's dropped? Because I wonder, what happens to the energy compression in the center, right? Reverberation back out. Because I wonder, is there a compression in the center that happens with reverberation back out when you hit it on the ground? Does the reverberation go up? Is it just or out? Going up? Like when you hit it on the ground, does the reverberation go up? Does the energy go through the floor? Or out? Is there a way to test that? These are all the questions that come across my mind. Does the energy go through the floor? Is there a way to test that? These are all the questions that come across my mind. So, and is there consequence by us doing said action? And is there to the surrounding area? Is there consequence by us doing said, or is it action? To the surrounding area. Is there a permanent outside, or is it temporary consequence of that reverberation to materials outside of object? Space is not linear because it's everywhere. It's all around, right? Space is not linear. In sciences, it's everywhere. It's all around. When you're making an action, so impact in sciences, when you're making that when you're making an action, impact experience. Right? When you're making that impact, even though you don't visually see or experience the other side or anything, what happens? Kind of energy is released around you. Right? What happens to the other side? What happens by your actions? Whether it affects anything around you, right? All the time. It's going to affect. So, whether it's within or without, doesn't matter. That frequency reverberates out. It's going to affect. It's like dropping a rock and fall. It's just that frequency reverberates out. Okay. So your internal world, like I said, your actions, your as within, so thoughts. So your internal reverberate, like I said, and energy, your actions, your thoughts, your what is the reverberate out an energy. What happens when that frequency changes? It starts to reverberate differently. What happens when that frequency changes and it starts to reverberate while it's in the air? What happens when it lands again? Can change its position if it was while it's in the air. What happens when it lands again? You would see that reaction. If it was, say, an easily bruisable areas of, you would see that reaction. But on a bouncy ball, you don't see that. On different areas of whatever fruit, right? So, but on a bouncy ball, you don't see that. Yeah, and why? I mean, we all know gravity has a big factor in most things, right? Especially yeah, and why? I mean, we all know gravity has a major factor in most things, right? Especially what else is involved? You know, we have that air, which is something. There's not nothing. What else is involved? There's always something. You know, we have that air, which is something. There's not nothing. So there's always something. You can create from nothing, but nothing. What happens? So you can create from nothing, of the ground. What happens to the ground? What happens then? Is there energy stored? So by the impact of the ground, what happens to the ground? Would there be energy? Is there energy stored in whatever said? Say if you dropped it on concrete, whatever's under. Would there be energy stored in the concrete, or would it be reverberate out to the rest of the concrete? I mean, would the whatever's under the concrete that days, or would that be able to absorb any energy that didn't get past or that got past that? Because there's force, just like we are created. So there's force involved. Anything, just like we are created, there's force involved. So anything, and there's also light, any kind of creation. So is there microscopically somewhere? So, and there's also light from the impact. So is there microscopically somewhere at a molecular level a flash of light from the impact of said bouncy ball on concrete? At a molecular level? I think it's like the butterfly effect, but like everything that I'm doing right now, like even by me moving my hands is affecting something else somewhere in the universe. But like everything that I'm doing right now, like even by me moving my hands is affecting something else somewhere in the universe. Where, because everything has an equal and opposite, right? They say that there's multiverses, which is possible, but each where we, everything, reality lives multiply, but each one has their own individual timeline. And that's why they say that there's no crossover that can happen, because it's no two are the same, right? And that's why they say that there's no crossover that can happen, because I don't know if y'all even turn off your TVs anymore. Right? Do you guys even have to turn off the TV back in the day? Which, I don't even know if y'all even turn off your TVs anymore. Do you guys even have TV? Because now everything's on your phone or tablet. So just a lot of questions. And you can answer them. Hey, it's Greg. Thank you. I was doing this eBay. But I might have some jewelry ideas soon on Etsy, because Jeff found some really awesome things at Royalty, and they're like mini paint chips. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It looks like sprinkles, but it's not. It's made out of paint. Here, this one says it actually. It's for screen printing. It's screen print. Okay. Screen print confetti. Don't get me wrong. This possibly might not actually be paint. I don't know. This one says rainbow unicorn. So, once you have sprinkled that in the desired area, cover with Teflon sheet. Press at 325 degrees to 350 degrees for 10 to 12 seconds. Make sure your heat press is set to heavy pressure. I want to say this is paint, but I really don't know. Either way, guess what? I don't care. So I'm gonna do like a 90s theme jewelry. Remember we had the light bright sticks the other day. So I'm thinking of like doing some kind of something 90s-ish. Because that's the colors. You know what I mean? Can't hardly see it. Wait. Angle it. Maybe. Okay, zoom in. I don't know. Whatever. There, maybe. You see the colors? Orange, dark blue, teal, pink, purple, regular. I think it's. I don't know. Hot pink. Yeah, those are pretty much the colors. So it kind of reminded me of like a rug from a roller skating rink. Back in the day. I don't know. I mean, the one here's pretty popular, but anyway, so I got that. That was a good find. And then I found a big old blank of cards, envelopes. Had extra envelopes, and there's some extra here. But they go by weight. There, it's like I don't even know. It's like 50 cents or something like that. So it's like nothing. I bought. I mean, price of these things is it's $8. So anyway. I try to go there and thrift and stuff as much as I can, or like Salvation Army or where's some other places. I think the other ones is funny too. Just kind of like hop around. So but yeah, there was a bunch of them. Some of them weren't even from this deck. It looks like somebody just had boxes of cards that they mixed in. So either as like thank you notes for my sales to my customers, which will be with an order, or if I get mail from like fan mail or anything like that, usually like I'll reply with a thank you letter or something like that. Or if you guys send me stuff to my PO box, or if I get mail from like fan mail or anything like that, usually like I use it for anything. Reply with a thank you letter or something like that. Or if you guys send me stuff to my PO box, I'll try to send like a thank you letter to whoever sends me questions and sciences. And I mean, it's I use it for anything. I did already start working on a workout plan. They're blank. So goodwill total, I already spent my total. And then so sciences and experiments. So there's your experiment. But yeah, questions was in sciences. So starting June, we're gonna start saving receipts. Okay, we're gonna start practicing. You may not have already start working on a workout plan. Business. You may not need to itemize, but we're gonna start practicing. Goodwill total, I already spent my total. So that way you can. But yeah, take care of everything that you want. So starting June, we're gonna start saving receipts. Okay, we're gonna start practicing. You may not have an LLC, you may not have a business, you may not need to itemize, but we're going to start practicing saving our receipts for business purposes. So that way you can take care of everything. I do need you to. So I'll probably do tonight. Clean up. Let's see. Basic. Okay, so we do. Then. And I did sort out the for sale stuff. I didn't realize how many things I had gotten. Tonight was supposed to be chicken and rice. So keep your eyes peeled on my. I do need to get because. So I'll probably go through tonight. Clean up. Basic. Okay, so we did go through clothes, but I didn't pay those. And I did sort out the for sale stuff. I didn't realize how many things I had gotten that I hadn't taken pictures of. If you have a chance, check out some keep your eyes peeled on my for sale sites because I know for a fact that there is a lot of companies out there now. eBay, Etsy. So tonight is so if you have a chance, check out some kind of I actually DIY scrub. You can make it yourself. Or I know for a fact that there is a lot of companies out there. But it was super selling. So anyway, so but yes, clear off side table. Yeah. to go get a charging station. But it was so there's that. So I put that anyway. And but yes, like I said, right now I haven't had any sales, which is okay. We're just okay. And but yeah. So there's that for today. So yeah, any sales, adding items. I reviewing sales. Like I said, right now I have not had any sales. Budget is okay. I already spent. My budget's spent. And so I need to get on my. I mean, anyway. Promotion. Because the money that I do from thrifting, I have to put towards. So yeah, review sales, adding items. I already did add some items. Like I said, I'm gonna be adding more. The struggle is real. Budget. I'll tell you what. I already spent my budget. My budget's spent, so it's done. I can't spend anymore. I mean, so because the money that I do have for thrifting, I have to put towards this. The struggle is real, but I tell you what, the more self-discipline that you put on yourself, for me, all of it is issues to the fashion side. I did find this was super cute, a childish clothes rack, but it's just not. It's got too much material, so the weight of it would not be exactly financially, but we're going by weight per poundage. So dollar per pound is cost fee. So somewhere in there. Anyway, but you gotta get there. So we did meet 10% of the total 6 month, which I wanted to meet. Now I want to meet 20%. Like I said, it's baby steps, but I really have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So right now I'm doing something else. So I'm gonna just keep going. For not knowing anything else. And so okay, here we go. So today's Thursday, and Kuro Kawaii was the theme for today. And like I said, it's very animated. It has like this hat. Cat or a rabbit? So like kind of like the cat itself is I think black and white, but the colorful side of this is more like pastel color. So or like bubble color, something like that. This is pastel, but so you have either or naturally in fashion. You have your monochrome. So tomorrow, today, I kind of messed up and went ahead with Moon Core because I obviously was around. So Moon Core, very floral, very colorful. Also has the monochrome side, but pushing more towards pastels. And just floral everything. So I did see some pants that had some lace patterns sewed onto the legs, which I thought was super cute. So I'll probably look at fashion trending, which I did get some tips today from some nice ladies, which was super awesome. Thank you very much. They were telling me to look into celebrity fashion and what's going on in the world today and keeping up with trends, but not the name brand, just trend. So, generally speaking, most of us can't afford that shit. Okay? You're gonna pay like hundreds of dollars for something. Great. You know what I mean? And that's my choice. Each their own. But not all of us may. So trying to give a opportunity for growth anywhere, whether you're purchasing for me and reselling, or if you're purchasing for your own personal, then like from someone that you know, then it's time it. All right. I don't know who's that. So that way you can, kind of run with whatever you can and has available. The jewelry that I'm going to be making with clay, I'm going to try to follow it, but I'm gonna make it my own. So my own little twist on it. I'll try to lean towards a trend. I'm not. I've never really been like a trendsetter or like a trendy person. I just like what I like. You know what I mean? That can go with art. That can go with music. That can go with foods, people. If I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. And sometimes it switches. You know what I mean? So, because I'm, indecision is quite to be, joke. I'll take it personally. So I'll probably have to switch either tomorrow, Hero Kawaii, or just plain Kawaii. Or is it plain Kawaii? So like I said, very frilly. Pastels, cat ears, which I do have a way of doing my hair with the cat ears that I think is really dope. So I might do that tomorrow. And then Sunday is I have seen so many awesome fall clothes lately. But I'm not willing to pay for the weight. Okay. So sweaters, wintertime, I have to add in my differential for weight to go ahead and double what I would have expected, at least grab something that's like a repetitive seller and just get that weight to average it out. Maybe, I don't know, because sweaters and pants are a whole nother weight bracket. Well, we already learned that pants on average are about a pound to 2 pounds each, so really closer to a pound, which is surprising for me. I thought it was going to be 5 pounds or something. Evidently, if you're wearing jeans, just add a pound. Or take a pound off, because that's how much they weigh. That's how much my jeans weigh. My jeans weigh like a pound or two. Yeah. So, thanks. Let's see. Next. So, for what I'm talking about, mind you, I went ahead and did that for this week, but really, you're going to be planning out for the next 6 months. So this is just a touch and go to give you a template to start with. As far as like aesthetic wise, for those of you who are creators, aesthetic wise, you can build your own aesthetic. You could utilize the aesthetic master list generator, which is a wheel that picks the thing for you. You can also do a color wheel. I know some of the content creators use color wheels. You can, you don't have to make the decision yourself, or you could. You could get inspiration from literally anywhere. And you could utilize some of the fashion trends that are available, or whatever is happening in the world today. Create from that, especially, and I keep saying it, if there's something negative happening in the world around you or in your past, create something beautiful from it. Because the only way to beat darkness is with love, and you have to have self-love to have that happen. You can't give love when you don't have self-love. It literally is a frequency. You can't fake it. You can fake it, but the frequency is just emitting from you. So when you have creation, people will see that, whether you mean to or not. Just try to be as authentic as possible. Literally, that's the only way to win in life. And with all of the fake shit that's going around in the world, and will be going around, we're gonna be starving for authenticity. But you can help yourself along with that. So, what was I going to say? You can use, what I do is the Pantone colors for the year or season. In one of my pages, it does have the Pantone colors for this year. Orange is a major player across the board. So if you choose something orange or within the orange range, yellow, orangey red, somewhere there, it's going to be popping. So wrong with that. And yellow. Yellow is the color of confidence. So, like I said, fall colors have been in mocha, which is like a brown color. It's the staple for the year, but basically fall colors are going to be all seasons. So if you think orange for summer, neon, that's really your color combos that go with that, or split pumpkin green, or red, or this. Yes. So those are the listings for that one. I can't say. I want to say no, I guess. So whether you want to make it blend or not, right? You can do monotone. Or the different colors are the same, and the different shades of the same color. So what do you do? But all of those things go in hand when I'm going to thrift, or if I'm going to resell an item. Those are the things that I'm looking at to kind of lean towards, because that's what you're going to be seeing everywhere. So I'm looking next season already. Mind you, I just got into summer. So I'm already looking fall, right? Because you're looking ahead the next 6 months, next 3 months. Okay. So we're in summer. We've made those choices. I've already made new summer wardrobe. Everything from summer stuff is already posted. Now I'm looking fall winter. Okay. So like I said, I'm looking for oranges, browns, like burgundies, royal, darker, like I want to say blues and greens. Right now it's pastels and neons, but by fall it'll probably be like earthier, with a hop of color. So you're gonna have that orange either be a duller or a brighter orange mixed in with other colors, like think wildfire, right? Think leaves. It's pretty common. Some colors, but you're gonna end up adding in pops of color with that, like adding neon pops in with earth tones. So or black grounds, where you have neons on black grounds, because 80s, 90s stuff is coming back. So you're gonna have the ripped jeans. You're gonna have the neon colors, some swimsuits. You're gonna have, like the every 30-year repetitive, cycle that happens aesthetically, but added to new aesthetics. In your cores, in your just like any style, even if you just create your own, it gives you something to start. With, right? So gives me something to look for, not just for myself, but for my sellers, or for my kids. If they even read me every time I buy them Homestay, I know automatically give me a no. I I've learned not to buy them clothing anymore. Because every single time I've ever bought a clothes, unless they specifically order it online themselves, and I just like which is so yeah. If I do see something that I can grab, that I can utilize. If you have something in your own closet, or maybe you want to create something that lean that direction, right? If you're a nail tech, anything having to do with fashion style, or if you're wanting to build something, or if you're wanting to paint something, anything having to do with color. Okay? If you're wanting, let's say for example, you know the main color, right? Learn more about that color. Like I said, orange. Right? I want you to learn everything you possibly can about the word, the color, referencing the background, the history, what does it mean in fashion, what does it mean in the world around you, kind of thing. When I look at all that, purchasing items to put into my eBay or into whatever seller site, or even just to have in my own wardrobe, and like when I'm out and about taking pictures and stuff like that, and putting it on my social media, the colors are in there. So it's automatically adding to the social media side of that seasonal pull, because there is subliminally, which I just explained, a way to express yourself to your community. It's color theory. Okay. So learn more about color theory. I don't care what industry you're in. You can go to the store right now, and I guarantee you are completely surrounded by color theory, subliminal messaging, and everything. Because they know you gotta look at stuff to get through the store. They always put the stuff that you need in the back of the store. There's no other entrance other than the front. It's all pushed. So it's business. So if I'm in the business, whether I'm buyer or seller, these are the things I'm looking for. Now, mind you, there's always that one-off palette, or one person that's out of sequence. Just take it as it is. And I'll be honest with you, fashion is art. Although the fashion places are number one, and probably the most 100%. So eBay's, doing the Etsy. The next thing that I noticed, as far as Etsy goes, is the artwork that I'm wanting to do. Like I said, I'm going to be doing painting. That includes those paint chips on this dusty, dirty ass canvas. And I'm gonna leave it like that. That I got a good one. So y'all get to have that. And I'm gonna leave it like that. So y'all get to have that. But this is going to be this is going to be a multi-product artwork. And so I'm using multiple different types of products. And so I'm going to be using multiple different types of products. It's going to be a mashup for this artwork. See it? It's going to be a mashup. Y'all going to see it? So you'll experience it. Don't know how it's going to end up, because I think that the best art comes through, like I said, authentic creation. And don't know how it's going to end up, because I think that the best art flash of light you can get from thought, like I said, authentic creation is creation. It's spontaneous action. So find a way. Flash of light that to communicate thought is creation itself. And if you're able to somehow find a way to communicate that in a way that is comprehensible, to the masses. My requirement is perfect. You will be lucky. If I can get 4,000 people to listen to me, that will be my own personal goal that I have reached that I cannot. My requirement. If I can get 4,000 people to listen to me, is the frequency. That will be my own personal goal that I have reached that I cannot reach. Because 144,000 is the frequency that each one of us have 4,000 to reach, elevate, receive the belief, and ascendant. And that's so. If 4,000, right, receive the belief, so then that's the frequency that's needed. Take that resonates. And I can be off on the math because y'all know me, I'm fourth grade math education, so you know. Maybe, you okay? You okay? Okay. Might be sooner, might be later, most of it. Might be sooner, might be later, most of it. I don't know what it is about iced coffee, but it was like expired. So existence. So I think these are gonna become more soon. I think these are gonna become more plenty because the amount of time and energy and effort that I put into this shit into making it plenty because it's popping. Time and energy and effort that matters. What's that? Oh, some reflections and stuff that was cycling that back, information back into, that's Fashion Saturday, right? Which goes for, like I said, 6 months, starting in June, the next 6 months. A lot of that's going to alter and change. She passed the law. Right? And like Q4, she passed the law. She can type ratings. Get your inspiration from everywhere as much as you can. Get your inspiration from everywhere. So when you're pulling the sales side of it, like I said, you're looking from both aspects, and that's what I like to do. I like to look from to the sales side of it. Like I said, you're looking from both aspects, and that's what I like to do. I like to look from, okay, this is what I'm doing. How would it be for me, like seeing this and experience this? Like, how would it be for me? You're gonna have to think multidimensionally to experience this. Like, ways. That's the best way. Yes, you're gonna have to think multidimensionally in order to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing. Yes, you have the opportunity to succeed if you just go forward with whatever it is that you're doing, which is totally fine. I encourage it. But being able to, unless absolutely necessary, give yourself grace. But being able to then, like I said, give yourself grace. Move forward with it. Like I said, triangulate. Then you'll be able to test. This is what I'm doing. Like I said, triangulate an idea. Right. So this is my intent. This is what I'm doing, and this is more of a point of view. So you kind of get that full range view. It's not full range, but it's kind of more of a point of view. Then past that, it's comes from that. Are the outside parts of you that are right? Because it's like you're in space. You're gonna get hit comes from that. You're gonna get hit by the outside experiences. You're gonna be in the midst, right? Because it's like you're in space. You're gonna get hit by an asteroid at some point in time, right? You're gonna get hit by something. You're gonna be in the midst of this mist of sorts of particles, the small that are going to bump into you. These events are going to happen. And some of them are going to really like knock you off course. The small events and the larger, and other ones are just going to really irritate. And some of them are going to really knock you off course. It's up to you to decide, right? And other ones are just going to really irritate boundaries, because that's so it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to have boundaries, because that's kind of like you're putting self, so to speak, right? And the putting self in like you'll be able to have a better view, full range view. You'll be able to then maneuver and pivot. You'll be able to have a better view, full range view. You'll be able to maneuver and pivot in a way that you can being able to maneuver forward, even if it's within, like I was saying about pulling yourself out of the darkness. It's a calendar, right? Being able to pivot, even if it's within. Mine's just an example. Say, for example, this PDF. It's a calendar, right? Everybody has a calendar. But mine's just an example. You can pivot and change it and is there however you want to. What you do, but you can still stay on course with whatever with the outside is. Your intention, the outside is there, right? What you do, and then what other people. So, like what the outside is experience, the outside experiences. Like I said, being able to look from all those different aspects. So, mind you, it's not going to be the only aspects. There's going to be things that are going to happen. Like I said, being able to look from all those different aspects. And mind you, like I said, it's not going to be the only aspects. But you can still or get involved or recover from that, affect it in some way. You can still, but you can still get yourself from that. You can still heal from that. Right? You can still or back on path. Because at some point in time in our lives, so we are going to fail. Right? Or back on path. It's going to happen. Because it's what you do with. At some point in time in our lives, we are going to fail. It's going to happen. Stay stuck in it. It's what you do with that failure. Inch steps to get. Are you gonna stay stuck in it, or are you out to take this little situation? Inch steps. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes things from our past stay with us for our lives. Said situation. Unfortunately, which I'll be honest with you. Sometimes things from our past stay with us the rest of our lives, and that can go for any. Unfortunately, sometimes there is no fixing it. Even though there may have been, and that can go for any situation. But it's still, even though there may have been a cut or finality in some lesson, right? Life lesson. It's still building block the lesson for the future. It's a lesson. Take the time to grieve and heal. Life lesson for us, because we all forget to do that also. Take the time to grieve and heal from that loss, because we all forget to do that also. Allow yourself. Sometimes it's heavier than most, and that but business. Allow yourself grace and time to be able to move forward, and that is including business. Take it as a lesson. Hit. You get a major hit to your business, right? Find a source. Take it as a lesson. Band-aid that bitch. Okay. Right? Find a source. I don't know. Band-aid that bitch. Okay. Or pay. Even if you can't completely fix it, try your best. And then fix it some way. Okay. Even if you can't completely fix it, try your best. And then move forward. You really can't move forward. And those are your two sides to kind of just like your 1-2 punch to kind of combat that. Because and really can't move forward without being. We do take it personal or happen. I don't care who you are. And when you're doing business, we do take it personally, right? I don't care who you are. Even corporate people, they see the number, it ain't right. They're not okay. So yeah, just so but like I said, like it doesn't have to be that heavy. But sometimes it is. And when you're working towards a goal, and you're trying to make things and you're totally understand where you're coming from this place. So but hopefully this will help. Somebody somewhere. And I'm really looking forward to launching this. I don't have a date launching this I don't have a date for the PDF yet, but it is going to be put in 6 months. All this stuff I personally don't want to go past. All this stuff I personally don't want to go past 3 years. Like if I don't have this shit done every year, I'm just. But yeah, like I said, these are a mashup of pre-existing ideas with your baseline tradition and like I said, these are a mashup of pre-existing ideas with your baseline tradition and my personal. You guys all do it. So tweak it as you may once it's released, which you guys all know what happens when I'm so. Oh, this screen is crazy. 19 seconds. Oh, it was weird. Oh, that was today. 19 seconds. So we did walk through pretty much everything, like I said, as far as like the for sale sites. Oh, that was today. Try our best. I did learn the hard way that not having business backing. So we did walk through pretty much everything. We all try to do that as far as like the for sale sites. Try our best. But it's out of pocket. I did learn very much the hard way. So that not having a business backing when you're starting a business. We all try to do that. Going in prior to the 1099, try to get some kind, but it's out of pocket, and you're always at a loss when you're starting. So something that I learned because when you're going in there from other people like I did, which I did it on purpose. I just wanted to do that. When you're going into business, even experience business, try to get some kind first time financial backing prior to starting, which I wanted to do because as much information as you can in my whatever it is that you're doing. Because when you're going in there blank, like I did, which I did it on purpose, I just wanted to jump right into that part. I wanted to any kind of experience the full immersive first timer kind of thing, constant learning. Which I wanted to do with all the platforms, but unfortunately I was not access. Personal likes are going to change my situation. So your ideas. So moving forward with that part of it, or any kind of business that you started. I started mine like what 7 months ago, something like that. 6 months ago, because your industry is going to change. From that, your personal likes are going to change. Evolve. So your ideas are going to evolve over time. Okay, you're going to evolve over time. My advice. So the business that you started, I started mine like what? Save something like that. 6 months ago to put down, or maybe I don't want to say like from that point to now, I have already evolved some kind of financial. So if I was to start this all over again, and if you have people match your dollar, my advice would be to either support. Save up a good chunk of money to put down for if maybe I don't want to say like a personal loan, but like if you do have some kind of financial backing to back that up. What maybe even if you have people match the dollar, small amount of time, or for me the first 3 months really support like deep diving. However you do, I was at a total loss. Having that financial backing, dove into that. Like I said, helps support the no idea what I was doing. If you do have any, I just knew that I had a personal goal that if I was going to purchase an item at a set.
And like I said, take a small amount of time. I knew that there was.
For me, the first 3 months really was just
knew
like
there was some fees
deep diving. I was at a total loss. I
dove into that. Like I said, no
the item
source. I had no idea what I was doing.
You know, my time.
I just knew that I had a personal goal that if I was going to
purchase an item at a set price,
I knew that there was some fees involved. I knew there was some fees involved because it was going to have some kind of
upfront costs.
The way I have mine set,
the customer
the item itself,
and
I also have
my time
and
gas and like
and I don't want to have to have any
well, it's supply. So,
but and then shipping, which
now
I thought
as far as return, eBay automatically guarantees.
didn't have to. The way I have mine set up, the customer purchases
if
due
process,
and I also have no returns. So
if you buy it, you keep it. So
they do go through, and I don't want to have to pay for shipping
process. So I try my best now as far as return. eBay automatically guarantees.
At first, I did have 2 refunds,
financial returns,
timing,
if due process is completed on both ends. So
they do go through a refund request process. If you do make a purchase,
I try my best now
to keep up with that. At first, I did have 2 refunds.
You can.
That was because
you can fight it.
timing and B product was sold as
stated
and so on both sides, whether the seller or the buyer, and somehow you have to look at the pros and cons of both. Okay, and then when you have a business storefront, whether it's digital or brick and mortar,
anyway, you can fight it.
How much
but
even if you're doing it out of your
that there is due process that goes through.
So on both sides, whether the seller or the buyer, you have to look at the pros and cons of both. Okay, and then when you have a business storefront,
like I
whether
said,
it's digital, take out those moments of brick and mortar, you literally have to look at the P&L part of it. How much are you putting into it? Or even if you're doing it out of your home, which I'm doing,
I pretty much have an online business.
Like I don't, like I said, take out those moments of realization of your successes that you
have this, and I'm working great. But like I said, there was upfront costs that
you have to look at the internet,
or like I said, it's
who's me.
So you're gonna need time
online
pictures of
so
but yeah,
and then
have this, and on the other side of it is once you finally sold the thing,
like I said,
now you gotta go through the process of even like the internet,
or like I said, your time.
Do you have the ability to print from home?
So and you're gonna need time to
post pictures of the product, or
do you have to drive to
sign it
and post it?
So those are things
then you have in there too.
The other side of it is once you finally sold the thing, now you gotta go through the whole process of
are the same.
packing.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you there's other ones that will charge you.
Do you have the ability to
print from home and just put it on your porch?
Or do you have to drive to a facility?
So those are things that you're gonna have to add in there too when you're selling a lot of things. So not all websites are the same. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you there's other ones that will charge you a ridiculous amount of money to sell your shit. As a first-time user, I think that some of the
keep an eye out for that
rules and
too.
regulations
eBay is not upfront
very
much
much about
a lot of things.
Not
so
fully
the part of it that I didn't
like.
I could not user
as a seller,
but
for me,
as a first-time user, I think that some of the
rules and regulations were
as far as like
the
left out,
and I mean blind,
or not fully upfront, like I thought it was. Like the fees
as a seller,
for me, it's all in the user agreement.
Now, mind you,
and I could have just not seen it and not read it,
but so I'm taking accountability for that part.
As a first-time user,
as far as like the first walkthrough, and I mean blindly, and like I'm walking through and just
so when you're going into it like that, like the fees, the eBay fees,
stuff like that, it's all in the user agreement,
right? And I didn't. So
if you have any promotions,
but
they take off of that.
As a first-time user, so
those
the fees and stuff like that, and look into. So when you're going into it like that, you get hit with the fees, you get hit with taxes, you get hit with try your best if you have any promotions, at least your percentage of financial side of it. So the fees and stuff like that. As far as having look into. You have some kind of business backing. None of us want to sit there and read some kind of agreement, and they know that. You can work with that doesn't try your best to try to cover at least your financial side, which I didn't do. So, and like I said, as far as having when they ask, either they say for you to backing or you have to have some kind of financial aspect. So the business is individual from you. Work with that doesn't directly affect you or your credit. You can utilize your space, which I didn't do. So, when they say for you to when you first start out business, internet, you have to have a separate travel expenses. So the business is individual from you. Okay. You can actually pay yourself from your business. You can utilize your space as a write-off. Oh my God, business. I don't realize how much money that I have invested. You can utilize in some situations your internet, your travel expenses, your food up to a certain percentage. Ask any accountant. And that's why I'm saying for the next 6 months when you start practicing saving receipts, because oh my God, I don't realize how much money that I have invested into myself in aspects that were a little heavy in other areas than I expected. So, but I learned a lot. So really, the money that I technically lost, anyway, unless I'm going to get a return from it. Knowledge and the past 6 months, so as a lesson, kicking my ass forward is pay attention. But I learned a lot. So really, the money that I technically lost, whenever you're going, I can consider that an investment into the knowledge of what I lost. Okay. So as a lesson to learn going forward is pay attention. So, that was a lot, right? Whenever you're going into anything, I always say try to learn as much as you can before you jump into it. If you're free and spontaneous, and you just get these wonderful, bright ideas that you think are going to change the world overnight because you're just amazing. And wow, so that was a lot, right? Baseline gives you something to you get those moments of inspiration that inspire you to do whatever and right now you're doing life. So because you're just all of a sudden going to have to take over. Use this as a foundation to breathe whatever you want. So the Lego boards baseline. So this gives you something to work with. You've got the bricks, hold on to, so to speak. I got the board. You know what I mean? I would suggest that you do. I suggest that you use this as a foundation to build something whatever you want. Like literally, the Lego boards. That's what this is. You've got the bricks. I got the board. You know what I mean? As future influencers. So you stream or not, create whatever you want. I want you to create something and something your existence a little too. You know what I mean? Awesome. And it's a major. So just remember that. Okay. Your frequency is a part of this world. Authentic is I want you to exist as future influencers, whether you stream or not. You are an influence to this world. Your existence alone is an influence. And it's a major here, so just remember that, okay? Your frequency is a part of this world, and it is required for this world to exist, because you are part of the equation, and you need to be here for it. And when the time for here is, I go off on these things. But goals, resistance to matter, coming out of darkness, pulling yourself forward, remembering that you get that, and that your ideas are really so, even if they're not over time. Okay. Write them down. I go off on these things. What are you waiting for? Goals. You
I said, coming out of darkness, pulling yourself forward, and remembering that you're important.
On that note,
and that your ideas are
yo,
really
Lucky Singe 19 awesome. Hey.
Okay.
What's it? Go create something awesome.
Get them out there.
Even if it's.
What are you waiting for? I don't have to tell you. Anyway.